Chapter 6. The Trial. Esmeralda is now sitting before a judge. She is on trial for two things. The judge thinks she stabbed Phoebus, and she is a witch. The judge is speaking to her. He says,
"Miss, you stabbed Captain Phoebus, who is now dying. Also, your goat can do magic because you are a witch. Are you guilty?"
"No, I am not. I did not stab Phoebus, and I am not a witch,"
she says.
"I see,"
the judge says.
"You do not agree with me. Then we will make you agree."
He says to the soldiers holding Esmeralda,
"Take her away!"
Esmeralda is taken to a dark room where some men hurt her. They want her to say herself that she is guilty. The pain is too much for her, so she says,
"I am a witch."
She says to the men,
"Let me die! Let me die! I cannot stand the pain! I am guilty! Guilty!"
"Good,"
the judge says.
"You agree with us that you are a witch and that you tried to kill one of the king's soldiers."
The trial is over. Esmeralda is not guilty, but she will be hanged. Jolly will be hanged with her. Chapter 7. Rescued. The Church of Notre Dame sits in the middle of Paris. This day, by the tower of the huge church, Esmeralda is to be hanged. She and Jolly are brought to the gallows, where they will both die. As Esmeralda begins to climb the gallows steps, she sees Phoebus. He is not dead. Phoebus was not dying as the judge said. Everyone has lied to her, but she does not know why. She now knows that Phoebus really does not love her. Knowing this is worse to Esmeralda than knowing she will soon die because of him. She cries out,
"Phoebus! My dear Phoebus! You are not dead, but I will soon be dead."
Before she saw Phoebus, she was afraid. Now, she is terribly sad. Two men are holding her and putting the rope over her head. The crowd does not notice, but a man is climbing down a rope from the tower of Notre Dame. Suddenly, the man jumps onto the gallows. He easily throws the two hangmen from the platform. It is Quasimodo. He picks up Esmeralda and runs toward the church. Quasimodo stops for a moment and turns to look at the crowd. He then yells out one word, "Sanctuary!" Then he runs into the church. There is a law of the kingdom about sanctuary. Any person who hides in the church cannot be taken from there. Esmeralda is safe under the law of sanctuary as long as she stays in the church. for himself. One night, he comes into her room as she is sleeping.
Who are you?
Esmeralda shouts. Then she sees it is Frollo. She says,
Oh, it is the priest! Get away from me!
Frollo grabs Esmeralda.
You must love me!
He says,
Love me!
Esmeralda fights with him. Then Quasimodo comes in. He grabs Frollo and pulls him away from Esmeralda. From then on, Quasimodo protects Esmeralda from Frollo. Frollo decides that if he cannot have Esmeralda, then no one will have her. It seems that Esmeralda must stay in Notre Dame forever. However, her friends, the gypsies and poor people of Paris, decide to save her. Many of them try to break down the doors to Notre Dame. Quasimodo thinks that they have come to hang Esmeralda, so he begins to fight them off, hurting many of the gypsies. King Louis XI happens to be in Paris. Because of all the noise in the streets, he thinks a revolution is starting. He thinks Esmeralda started it.
We must take away this witch from the church,
He says to the men with him.
But sir,
One man says,
she is under sanctuary.
Still, I want her taken from the church. Send soldiers to Notre Dame immediately. Find this young witch and hang her,
says the king. Phoebus leads the soldiers to the church. Quasimodo is happy to see the soldiers coming. He thinks they are coming to protect Esmeralda. However, when he goes to her room to tell her the good news, she is gone. Frollo, the man whom Esmeralda hates, has helped her to escape from the church. However, for his help, he wants something from her.
I will ask you one more time.
He says to Esmeralda,
Love me and live. Refuse me and die.
I refuse! Hang me!
Esmeralda says.
Very well then. You will hang,
says Frollo, and he leaves her and returns to Notre Dame. Esmeralda hides from the soldiers who are looking all over Paris for her. When she sees Phoebus riding by, she calls out to him.
Phoebus! Dear Phoebus, here I am!
Phoebus does not hear her, but another soldier does. The soldier catches her. Then Esmeralda is taken immediately to the gallows. This time, there is no one to save her. Chapter 10. A Strange Grave. In Notre Dame Tower, Frollo is standing on top of the wall, looking down at something below. Quasimodo slowly goes to the wall to see what Frollo is looking at. On the gallows below, Quasimodo can see the lifeless body of Esmeralda hanging at the end of a rope. Quasimodo cannot stand the pain in his heart. He suddenly grabs Frollo and lifts him high over his head. Then he throws Frollo from the Tower of Notre Dame. Frollo falls on the street below. Quasimodo stands there looking down at the two people who were most important to him. They are now both dead. Quasimodo looks at the sky and shouts,
There is everything I ever loved!
Quasimodo is never seen again in Paris after that night. However, a few years later, a strange story is heard in the city. Someone has found an open grave in the countryside. In the grave is the skeleton of a woman. The skeleton's neck is broken. It looks like she died from being hung. Next to her is a skeleton of a man. The man's skeleton has a strange shape. One leg is shorter than the other. Also, the backbone is not straight. The man's arm is around the woman's skeleton. It looks like he is holding her. Everyone who knows the story of the gypsy Esmeralda and Quasimodo, the ugliest man in Paris, knows exactly what happened. They know that poor Quasimodo died of a broken heart, embracing the body of the woman he loved.